Okay, here's the top 2 things we hate is in all caps, about Doom Eternal. I'm about a third to a half of the way through. It's hard to tell because I don't know how many missions there are, and the missions I have played were all extremely long for some reason. Like, this is one of the first games in a long time where I've been in the middle of a mission and thought, fuck, this is a long-ass mission. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I haven't really made my mind up on that. And the bottom line here is that that Doom formula is still there, and it still works. Because, it worked in 2016, so why wouldn't it work here? There are still times, especially in certain parts of certain levels, Slayer Gates, I'll also give a shout out to there, these little cut-off areas where you're almost in these little arenas, you have your full weapon arsenal, you have all your equipment arsenal, and you're in the middle of that loop, you're in the thick of the action, and everything just feels right, and when the music kicks in as well,
oh yeah,
it's an extremely unique feeling. It really gets the blood pumping. The weird thing is, though, the things I like about the game far outweigh the things that I don't. Like, I have more negatives that I could put to words, but overall, I'm much more positive on it. They tried to do a little bit too much, in my opinion. It was almost like that classic age-old question of what do you do to improve on a very good formula that they had with Doom 2016, and someone in the team maybe thought the answer was, let's just do more. Sometimes it felt like that messes with the flow a little bit, and what I mean by that is, we talk about that loop, hey, chainsaw for ammo, flame belch for armor, glory kill for health. That's just about enough, but then you've got like a grenade on R1, but then you change your type of grenade to an ice grenade on the left on the D-pad. Every weapon has at least 2, sometimes 3 mods, and some mods are better than others for destroying weak points, which are new to the game, and weak points sometimes in some contexts feel more like a necessity than an option. They're not a way to kill a thing faster, they're something you have to do to not die yourself. And there were times where I just felt, okay, this is becoming a little bit overwhelming in the way that Doom 2016 didn't. Not overwhelming because there's too many enemies and I feel like I'm going to die, but overwhelming because I've got so many things to remember in the middle of combat that it's getting tough. There's a system in the game where you pick up extra lives, and if you have an extra life, when you die, you just keep going and burns that extra life. At one point, I had 10 of them.
How do you feel about the Marauders? Because I know online a lot of people are complaining.
I think I've only fought one once. It's the most I've died to in any one sequence. To be fair, with the way they're introducing the story, this isn't a spoiler, but it's hard to tell at the point in the game that I'm at whether it's a one-off occurrence or whether there are multiple. Basically, he was the first proper piece of shit in the game. For people that don't know, he's an enemy type that he has a short-range attacking option and a long-range attacking option. He moves extremely quickly. He has a dash like you do, but key point, he's only vulnerable to be hit at a certain point, which is just before he hits. So his eyes flash green when he's just about to do something. That's the only time you can hit him. Any other time you try to shoot him, he's got a shield. And that took a long time to get my head around. Especially because fighting one enemy is not a great way to experience Doom, because they have to populate the arena with other really weak mobs so that you can still get health and ammo. Sure. And sometimes that felt like they're struggling to justify a boss fight here because I can't do the loop on one dude because he can't die. It wasn't a huge distraction, and by and large, most of the combat is still very good. I think there are too many tonal inconsistencies in the plot and the way the character of the Doom guy is presented, to the point where I'm not sure it knows what kind of a game it wants to be and what kind of a line it wants to walk in terms of its tone and its feel. The first one had a crazy guy in the back of the room who had all these crazy ideas. I'm imagining it being Hugo Martin, by the way, who's one of the game co-directors, and the rest of the team kind of went, we're not sure if people are going to like that, but we'll try this and we'll try that. And 90% of the ideas he had were shot down, 10% were kept in, and what you get was a game that was giving you a knowing wink without being obvious. The Doom guy's attitude, the way he punched screens out the way, a lot of the writing, demonic invasion in progress, this really kind of outlandish stuff that obviously was tongue-in-cheek, but was kind of like I said, a knowing wink more than anything else. This has gone full on, you get news reports coming in where the news refer to you as the Doom guy, and the people on Earth that are left alive are called the mortally challenged. And you go into the Doom guy's man cave, people are calling it. He's got guitars hanging from the wall, and he's got a PC, and if you zoom in on the PC screen, he's got folders called glorykills.mp4 and comics and magazines about himself. He's got books that are all fourth wall breaking references to previous games and previous hit games.
That's all sounding a bit Deadpool to me.
People have also said it's a little bit Borderlands and maybe a little bit Duke Nukem.
Right.
Now that stuff is all fine and it's actually kind of cool. The issue I then had is that I saw that stuff, thought this is cool, then went into the second mission and had some weirdly serious conversation with some guy I'd never heard of before called King Novik, who's never been explained or mentioned in any context, to my understanding. In the cutscenes, some of it seems to be self-serious, and it's almost like they don't know what they want it to be. Is this guy the last of the Sentinels and the guy that's going to save the human race and betray his own kind to do so by taking on the Hell Priests or whatever? Or is this a guy who has a copy of Doom 3 on the shelf and knows he's a celebrity? It felt like the team didn't know if they're making Saints Row or GTA, which isn't to say GTA doesn't have a sense of humour, it's just to say one's a knowing wink, the other's getting his dick out. I always felt like Doom 2016 was a kind of almost like a sci-fi horror shooter kind of thing with elements of the occult. Doom Eternal feels like it's far more heaven and earth, angels and demons. I heard one journalist say, and I couldn't agree more, it feels like every cutscene is filled with 5 to 10 proper nouns, so names or places or events or objects that you're meant to have heard of and you haven't. It's like the Khan Maker unleashed the angels of hell across the 7 sentinels of the... And you're just like, hang on, I don't know what any of these words mean. Also, the cutscene was 30 seconds long and I'm supposed to read the rest of it in the codex. I'm not gonna. I'm really torn on it because I don't want to call the attempts at comedy and some of the references and Easter eggs and secrets and stuff like that outright bad or cringeworthy or anything like that. I'm enjoying both elements, they just don't blend together that well for me sometimes. But it's still cool. It's just maybe doesn't feel as succinct as Doom 2016 did in that sense.
I remember watching gameplay stuff, jumping around at breakneck speeds. It very much was no longer a horizontal gameplay. It was very much a 3D space arena. How successful do you think that was?
There are a lot of arenas that you go into where the first time you get there, it's kind of tempting just to stay in that little area you just walked in and kind of just strafe left and right, trying to kind of hold down a position. And you realize quite quickly that it won't let you do that because you'll have a few heavy dudes come up on you, you can't handle them all at once and you'll die. I think what they do quite nicely is they spread out these arenas quite well, and like you said, Chris, there is a lot of verticality, and what you realise the more you explore some of these arenas where some of these battles take place is that actually they spread out a lot of armour and health packs, ammo, and most of them also have a power up or two that's usually a little bit out of the way, so you are often encouraged to move around, and also just because the best way to stay alive is to keep your distance. There are going to be enemies that make it difficult, but what you don't want to do is have enemies up on you that you can't handle.
Do you guys like the way they've done it though? Because like I said, to me it just looked kind of overwhelming.
I think the overwhelming part doesn't come from traversing the environment or finding out where to move or where to stay. I think the overwhelming part comes from immediately reading the situation and knowing how that equates to what you've got and what you need to do.
Right. Okay.
By which I mean, like, right, I need armor, so I've got to flame belch these guys. There's one of those snaky guys slithering around, so I need to change from my frag grenade to my ice grenade, fire it off, and hopefully my equipment is all charged up. Oh, by the way, there's a Revenant over there, so I need to get out my heavy rifle. Hopefully I got to switch from the grenade launcher mod to the sniper mod, so I can zoom in, shoot off both of his tanks. Oh, and then by the way, there's one of those shield guys over there, so I've got to switch to my plasma rifle so I can overheat your shield. They've thought of something for everything, but that means you need to think about it too.
Yes.
And sometimes all in the middle of battle. I know I'm sounding really negative. This is still, like, my favourite game of the year so far. I really do fucking love this game. There's just things I wish that were slightly better, maybe. One too many upgrade systems as well.
Can you ever really have one too many upgrade systems?
When they get to the point that the upgrades are so irrelevant that you don't even know or care which one you're choosing, yes. It's Rage 2-esque in its over-upgrading. I actually like this, the Sentinel Crystal system. Chris, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but basically, Sentinel Crystals, you have 3 core attributes that they can upgrade. Your health, your armor, your ammo. But the way they've done it is that, imagine you've got a health symbol and an ammo symbol. Pick any 2 of the 3 symbols, and in the middle of them is a perk. So if you buy both on either side, you get the perk in the middle.
Yeah.
So if you buy this health and this armor, you'll get the perk there. I kind of like that. I don't know. It's all right.
I thought it was, to me, it was just another thing, another
It's not
quirky
like the, it's
way
not like
to
the rune
tweak
system.
the system.
But the rune system, or whatever, the Praetor suit kind of token upgrade thing, going in those menus, it's just like, right, do I want explosive barrels to respawn after I've shot them? Or do I want my frag grenade to come back? I don't care.
I'm genuinely enjoying it. I think you are as well, Jamie.
Yes,
right?
yes.
I'm,
Yeah. It's a very good game.